9 years after his death, Carson's family found a malicious video. The Tonight Show aired on U.S. television for over 30 years, imprinting itself into the memories of numerous generations. Johnny Carson, the show's host, was noted for his captivating on-screen manner and ability to crack one-liners. Can you determine who it is, from his own issues to the one visitor he genuinely despised after having them on the show? Discover some of his life's mysteries, including the truth about his masculinity. The controversial marriage. Johnny was married 4 times in all, but the truth about their private lives became public during the second of these marriages, which raised some questions. Carson met Pan Am stewardess Joanne Copeland in 1960 while presenting the game show Who Do You Trust? Surprisingly, both of them started having affairs immediately after their marriage. She's dating sports celebrity Frank Gifford, while he's dating a number of women. A marriage like this seemed certain to collapse, yet the couple stayed together for 9 years until separating in 1972. What was more shocking was that the couple seemed to remain on good terms following the breakup, with Joanne openly supporting Carson after his program. She saw his talent and promised to help him further his profession. His private pain. Even though both sides were at fault in this difficult marriage, learning that his wife, Joanne, was having an affair upset the talk show host. When Henry Bushkin, Carson's former attorney, published a tell-all book in 2013, it was only then that these ideas came to light. Bushkin recalls in the book how the two of them broke into the flat where the affair was taking place in the hopes of finding some tangible proof. Bushkin was originally against the idea because breaking in was illegal, but his worried client eventually won him over. There was enough to be discovered, and Carson burst into tears at the finding, bemoaning the status of his marriage. Never confirmed. Inside Joanne's second house, the two uncovered some shocking findings that sent the talk show host to tears. There were many images of the guy in the issue, Frank Gifford, throughout his home, as well as some lingerie on the sofa. This was sufficient proof for Carson, who began binge drinking with his usual drinking buddy, Ed McMahon. Despite what Johnny saw as substantial proof, the romance was never fully verified, since Joanne and Frank Gifford never married. Instead, Frank married talk show host Kathy Lee Epson, who later became Kathy Lee Gifford. Frank and Kathy married 15 years after the alleged affair, although she did humorously question him about it on the Today Show. His brief response was, "I don't remember. Maybe?" Losing hope. Bob Hope came on the talk show several times throughout the years due to his notoriety. Carson's dissatisfaction with visitors only grew over time. Hope's vision and hearing had worsened, making it difficult for him to grasp the interview questions. The comedian's teams had set up a strict interview format, and Carson's only option was to follow it. Carson had to ask the questions in a certain sequence in order for Hope to know which response to provide. Carson wasn't only irritated with his guest, but he was also concerned about how the TV legend was aging, stating, "If I ever end up like that, guys, I want you to shoot me." Mommy issues. Johnny appeared to have troubles in so many aspects of his life, from divorces to drinking problems to innumerable infidelities. However, rather than examine his conduct and accept some responsibility for his actions, he blamed someone else. His mother, Ruth, he said, was not only cold and callous, but also the source of all his troubles. He just said of her, "She's the harshest son of a bee I've ever known," a remark he made often. He further blamed her for his failed marriages, claiming that she had ruined his life and that there is no freaking way I could ever impress her. This is Lady Macbeth. His relationship with his mother never healed, and he declined to attend her funeral, declaring merely, "The Wicked Witch is dead." Here's all of Johnny. The graphic video shows Johnny with a lady entirely nude beside a swimming pool for roughly 5 minutes, proving that the talk show host has more than just a great sense of humor. Then they retire to their bedroom for around 20 minutes and do something too hot for TV. Which of Johnny's 4 wives appear in the video is unknown. However, the lady has a bouffant hairstyle similar to that of his third wife, model Joanna Holland, whom he married in 1972. Carson's history of shirt-chasing shenanigans, as documented in Carson's longtime lawyer Henry Bushkin's tell-all book, Johnny Carson, showed that the host's life was filled with R-rated encounters. Fat shaming. We now have greater awareness for individuals of different body sizes, but in the 1960s and 1970s there wasn't as much concern about upsetting bigger people, and Johnny never allowed his fear of offending others to prevent him from cracking the jokes he wanted to make. Johnny also turned his acerbic wit on legendary actor Raymond Burr, mocking him about his weight during the show's opening address when he was a guest. He appeared in 1968 and 1976, but he declined to do so because of Carson's remarks. Lost opportunities. Johnny sought methods to diversify his riches outside of his television career. He even explored investing in real estate and came close to acquiring the Aladdin Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas in 1980, which would have been a major investment. Wayne Newton eventually bought the hotel after he decided not to proceed. Despite the fact that the two had never competed directly, the media characterized Carson as the loser in this case, which irritated the TV presenter. Johnny retaliated in the only way he knew how, by insulting the other guy on his television program. He made jokes about Newton's sexuality, which may not seem significant today, but at the time, keeping a male character in public was critical. As one would guess, these jokes would cause a schism between the two men. The ongoing feud. Years later, the schism lingered, leading Newton to openly address it. Johnny Carson is a mean-spirited human being, he said during an appearance on Larry King Live. For some reason, he was badly wounded by others, and at one time he chose to take all of his grief and rage out on me, and I was not going to let him lash out on me any longer. Even Newton's public condemnation of the talk show host didn't stop the insults, and Newton was finally forced to confront Carson face to face. He went to Johnny's studio and threatened him with violence if he didn't stop making fun of him. The personal approach worked, and Newton was devoid of slurs. A jealous streak. Other celebrities were also on Carson's bad side, even if there was no specific event to blame. He harbored a grudge against Tom Snyder, the presenter of The Tomorrow Show, whom he thought was dull and untalented. However, that wasn't a widely held belief since Snyder went on to host Tomorrow with Tom Snyder, and eventually The Late Late Show with Tom Snyder. Carson was very vocal about his disdain for the guy, publicly trashing him one night in the late 1970s. After a few glasses of wine at Carsons in Los Angeles, Johnny went on a tirade about everything he despised about Snyder. Johnny, Joan, and John. The Tonight Show was not only a huge success for Carson, but it also helped begin the careers of other notable television personalities. Joan Rivers and John Davidson both went on to host their own talk shows after appearing as guests on the program. Johnny allegedly found the news to be very disloyal and was furious about it rather than happy for them. Part of the difficulty was that their programs clashed with his on television. Rivers' program ran on Fox alongside The Tonight Show for 2 years until being canceled in 1987. Rivers confessed on Larry King Live that although her program didn't survive long, it irreparably damaged her bond with Johnny Carson, who never spoke to her again. Was love behind it? Their quarrel was publicized as being over Rivers obtaining her own program, but there were whispers that the schism was for deeper personal reasons. Many people think that as co-hosts, Carson and Rivers became more than just colleagues. Rivers subsequently published a book in which she claimed the two had an affair, despite the fact that she was married to Edgar Rosenberg. Whether Carson's story was genuine or not, Rivers acknowledged being unfaithful to Edgar throughout their marriage. After 22 years of marriage, she requested a divorce in 1987. Rosenberg committed suicide shortly after, leaving his wife and daughter distraught. Joan tells all. Her public remarks about his virility exacerbated Joan and Johnny's speculations. In a 2014 interview, she told reporters, "I saw it in real life. How do you think I got on the show to begin with?" Additionally, Rivers claimed that the woman in the sex film she had seen was not Carson's wife. Obviously, the wife that he made it with wasn't the wife at the time he made it, she joked. You don't use knee pads when you're married. Confession time. Carson sought to keep his troubles out of the public eye, despite the fact that his drinking was well known among friends, family, and others in the profession. He was aware that any journalist would ask him probing questions. Therefore, he avoided conducting interviews. However, Johnny's drinking started to affect the way he performed, and he realized that he had a major issue. Carson's drinking issue became apparent when he consented to an in-depth interview with 60 Minutes. During the program, he revealed that he doesn't manage alcohol well, adding, "I don't handle alcohol well at all. No, I don't." He also blamed his drinking on TV announcer Ed McMahon, saying, "Oh, Ed and I have had some wonderful times in the past. While these evenings may have seemed lovely at the time, he made some inappropriate comments when under the influence that were very disrespectful to others and would come back to haunt him." No better as a father. Carson has children, which may surprise you given his negative personality traits. He had 3 children with his first wife, Jody Walcott, but no more children from his later marriages. Rick, his kid, had a mental disorder, and Johnny was not supportive. Instead, he regarded it as a source of shame, refusing to see his child in a facility. Carson could have regretted his lack of assistance after Rick's death on June 21, 1991. The young guy was driving through the hamlet of Morro Bay on California's coast when he lost control of his vehicle. It careened down a 125-foot precipice and slammed into the ground, killing him instantly. On one episode of his program, Carson paid respect to his son and his work as a photographer. The honeymoon is over. It's easy to watch a television personality night after night and believe you have a good grasp of who they are. Johnny Carson was simply mesmerizing and entertaining to his audience. He was a guy who could charm and amuse millions. While this was accurate in some ways, his off-screen character was much different, with many people describing him as nasty, his fourth wife, Alexis Moss, in particular. He had kept his charming side up long enough for her to fall in love and marry him, but things swiftly went south after the wedding. She noticed his real colors on their honeymoon cruise through Italy in 1987. His bad moods marred what should have been a beautiful event. They started to dispute, as is natural for any marriage, but other passengers on the boat heard Johnny respond to Alexis with a particularly scathing statement. "We've only been married for 3 weeks. If you say anything like that again, I don't think this marriage will survive another 3 weeks." The malicious video that echoed through time. 9 years following his passing, an unexpected and disheartening discovery shook the family of Carson. Amidst the passage of time, when they believed the painful memories had settled, they stumbled upon a malicious video that not only reopened old wounds, but also introduced new layers of distress. This unsettling revelation served as a stark reminder of the digital age's lasting impact, where moments captured on video can be manipulated and exploited to cause harm. The family was confronted with a poignant lesson about the importance of online vigilance and the need to protect the legacy and memory of their loved one in an era when even the virtual realm can harbor unexpected threats. As they grappled with the implications of this malicious video, Carson's family resolved to turn this unfortunate event into an opportunity to raise awareness about the potential dangers lurking within the digital spaces we navigate daily. Through their advocacy, they aim to shed light on the significance of safeguarding one's digital footprint and ensuring that the stories we tell online remain true to the essence of those we cherish, even in the face of sinister intent.